Hi everyone and welcome along. Today we are going to paint an Agapanthus flower. So I'm just starting by drawing some stems, some of the curving leaves, and then for the flower itself what I need to work out is where those petals and stems just cross the main stem itself. So I just put a big U shape, and if you want you could also put in a sort of halo, little dome that's going to tell you where these flowers go first. So we're going to begin by doing a clever little layering technique, because the flowers on an Agapanthus is a whole spray of little petals and buds in a lovely sort of bluey purple colour. So I'm going to use my Cobalt Blue Deep and some Imperial Purple I've got over here. I'm going to mix those together. But for starters, I'm going to do it all rather faint. So I will show you what I mean. I'm going to begin using my rigger brush, and I've got this lovely faint dilute mixture of green, gold and sap green, and I'm going to paint a series of dilute stems coming from the central anchor point on both flowers. There might be some that just curve out just a little bit further, but on the whole they're going to remain inside the dome. Having painted those in, I'm now going to use my dilute blue-purple mix with my size 2 brush, and I'm going to paint either some dilute buds, which I'm going to paint, they really do need to be quite faint, little sort of light bulb shapes using a sort of S-curve, 2 mirrored S-curves. And if you manage to get a little bit of unpainted space in the middle, that's brilliant. Or it might be one of the more open flowers, which we'll achieve by painting a nice tapered line flanked by 2 more. Let's do another one. Tapered line. So just make sure, it's so important that for this first stage that these petals and stems are really dilute, because what we're going to do is we're going to layer up on top of them with more of these flowers, but with a much stronger tone. I've now mixed up some more concentrated versions of those colours, and I'm going to just repeat the process basically, looking for the gaps and things, but just painting everything in. And this is a really nice way of creating a rounded shape when you're painting a watercolour flower that has a sort of a dome-like shape with flowers at the front and the back. So it's exactly the same for the more concentrated flowers, whether you're doing a little closed bud or an open flower. We start with that same sort of central tapered line and then create the sides with a little bit of unpainted space. Now it's time to paint in the stems. So we're going to use the colour we've got. I'm just adding a little bit more water, and I've got my, what have I got, a size 2 brush. And starting with, that's quite dilute, that works okay, but I might just add a little bit more. So Agapanthus stems are quite thick. So after that initial brush stroke, I'm just going to go in and tidy it up. What's nice is these brushes give it a fairly perfect line in the first place, so there's not too much tidying up that needs doing. It's a warm day today, and I'm noticing that the paint is drying faster. It's amazing how your surroundings can really affect the process and the results of your painting. But that's nice. Okay, so now I'm going to take a slightly larger brush, take my size 4, and I'm going to start to paint in the leaves. Now I'm going to do these in the same colour. I think, yeah, that's dried now, so I can paint in over the top. Now the leaves are quite nice and sort of, they've got a rounded end, and they've got a kind of smooth thickness like the stems themselves. And you can really use the leaves to make your composition really work nicely with all these curves and things. I've added some Payne's Grey and Sap Green to this mixture here, and I'm now going to use it to add a bit of depth and detail to these stems and leaves, because now I can use it to firstly sort of create a more rounded shape on those stems, but also to use it to define sort of what's coming in front of the other thing. So you can see I'm just using the darker green to add just a little bit of texture and movement to the leaves. I'm not blending everything in. I quite like having a few visible brush strokes. It also means you can just, if you want to just tidy up the shape of anything. And then I'm getting a little bit more Payne's grey into this mix and just using it to do a sort of another level of darkness, to be just that bit more shadowy. So the last thing I'm going to do is I want to get one or two more just lower down little buds, just to fill in almost the space in the dome. So you could get your rigger brush back, but I think this brush is doing a mighty fine job. So I've just done 3 extra little stems. Let's change my water over, it's rather green. And paint some just slightly smaller little buds. Because you do get the flowers growing at different stages. And there you have an Agapanthus.